for close, hard racing. The Davanti Tyres MX5 Cup has lived up to expectations this season, and the 2018 title fight comes down to three ways here at Snetterton on the 300 circuit. Look out for that fight between Paul Maguire, Ben Hansey and Ian Tomlinson, the latter coming on strong in the second half of the season and winning last time out at Donington. With these cars, it'll be wheel to wheel, it'll possibly be door to door, it'll definitely be gloves off, and Andy has got all the action from race one.
Thanks, Paul. Well, the cars lining up on the grid in very damp conditions here. It's Ben Short and Ben Hansey that make up the front row of the grid, with Paul Bateman and Paul Maguire, championship leader, on row 2. Alistair Bray and Ian Tomlinson are next, ahead of Paul Monteith and Bobby Andrews, with Daniel Grist and Jordan Johnson rounding out the top 10. Well, in the championship, it is a 30-point advantage for Paul Maguire, which sounds like a lot, but with 100 points available for a race victory, it is all still to play for, and Ian Tomlinson is only 35 points back from the championship lead. So if Hansey's still in it, then you certainly can't count Tomlinson out yet either. Red lights are on then, we're about to go racing for the first time this weekend in the Davanti Tyres MX5 Cup by 5 Club. And it's a good start made by all of the front runners by the looks of it on the run down towards Rich's corner. From the outside line, there's that Ben Hansey in front. Yes, it is. So Ben Hansey's got his nose in the lead, crucially down towards Rich's corner for the first time. Ben Short there, 3 times a winner earlier on this season, but hasn't raced since Croft, where he won all 3 races. In fact, that's his only appearance so far this year. And he won all 3 times. Off the road, unfortunately, is Jordan Johnson, and he rejoins, having started 10th. He's now right at the back of the grid, and he's got a ball of spray in front of him. That is all the visibility he has. Leaders through the Wilson hairpin for the first time. Around the outside there on the grass is Ben Short, car number 1. Ian Tomlinson trying to get involved here as well. Ian Tomlinson picked up his first win of the year last time out at Donington Park in the 3rd and final race, and as Paul was saying, really has come on strong this weekend. He's had 1 non-finish earlier on this season, and you drop your 3 worst scores, so that becomes one of them. However, Ben Hansey didn't race at all at Donington last time out, so he's used up all 3 of his drop scores. 1 bad result here, and he is finished as far as his championship challenge is concerned. Through the Agostini hairpin they go. There is Ian Tomlinson, car number 9. We were just on board with him. Running way wide behind there was somebody trying to find grip on the outside line, which in theory is where the grip should be in these conditions, but it's very risky because you're that much closer to the edge of the road. It's so easy just to slip up and run wide. Around the outside there was going Alistair Bray in the 76 car. We're on board with Ian Tomlinson. Somewhere in front of us is Ali Bray, and as they turn in towards Agostini, the car's off to 1 car off, certainly, maybe 2, and rejoining there was car number 42, Paul Bateman. Twice a winner this season was Paul Bateman earlier on in the year, but this race not going quite to plan so far for the double winner. In fact, last time out at Donington, which was his first appearance of the season, he had 2 race victories and a 4th place finish did Paul Bateman. Things not quite going to plan here at Snetterton so far. Down the hill we go then towards the end of the first lap. We saw it was Ben Hansey who was leading initially. Well, he's no longer at the front of this queue of cars, though I have to say I've lost track of where the leaders are exactly, because it's been such a frenetic opening lap here with the midfield runners diving up the inside line there. That's number 89 Paul Monteith making a move and getting past Ian Tomlinson. That's not good news for Tomlinson's championship hopes, but he's fighting straight back. He's got the inside line again towards the right-hander at the bomb hole. Where's the grip going to be there on the outside line? Surely, and yes it is, so Paul Monteith is able to go through, and in fact fighting back now at the inside. There's another car trying to go past Ian Tomlinson through the spray. It's a struggle to see the number, but it is number 43 Daniel Grist, who started 9th. He's moved through now as well. The next car to come up behind Ian Tomlinson is going to be Paul Maguire by the looks of it. So lots of cars finding their way past Ian Tomlinson in the early stages. He was struggling with the conditions. Very sideways moment there though for Daniel Grist, who gathers it together, but of course that loses him a lot of momentum onto one of the longest straights on the track, and so Ian Tomlinson goes straight back through, and that may not be the only place that Daniel loses on the run down towards Rich's, because now here comes Paul Maguire pulling alongside him. He has to go to the outside line, but that may not be the worst place in the world to be when they get towards Rich's corner. You can see the field sort of split into these 2 packs. You've got a second pack of cars further back here just trying to work their way through. There's car number 88 Bobby Andrews in the white and green car. He's just on the tail of that first group of cars, really, working their way out of Rich's in towards the Wilson hairpin. 76 there, that's Ali Bray dicing now with car number 90 in behind him. And it can't have been 90, that would have been Ben Abbott from the back of the grid. too sure. Let's wait for a double check on the ID on that car. Whatever it is, it looks like it's the fight for second position, isn't it, though, as they work their way down the hill now. Ben Short leading the way. No, it is Ben Abbott. So Ben Abbott from the back of the grid, a guest driver this weekend, so I don't think he's eligible for points, but he is running strongly here in second place, right behind Ali Bray, who's looking to the inside line, the outside line there to try and find some grip, but the white and purple car nearly losing out there to the all-purple car of Ben Abbott, who runs his way through to Hamilton's, excuse me, now then Oggies. And this battle going on behind, so where is Ben Hansey then, has to be my next question, car number 40, because I haven't seen him up towards the front of the field, and he was leading. Now I did think there might have been a second car that was off here on the opening lap. Was that the case maybe? Is that where Ben Hansey went, and if so, did he rejoin? Well, there's no car sat at the side of the road now, so if there was a second car there, he's obviously been able to rejoin, but Ben Hansey not at the front of the field where he would quite like to be, really. Realistically for Paul Maguire, just a couple of good results for him would be enough, but there is Paul Maguire right in behind the sideways again, Daniel Grist. So Maguire's not had a great start to the race either, and that was the championship leader. The orange and blue car diving up the inside. He'll take advantage of that mistake to move up another position, but that was a close call there for Paul Maguire, who has never been off the podium all season long. He is 6 times a winner, Paul Maguire, and has a worst finish of third twice. One of those occasions he had the fastest lap though, and so that counts as one of his top scores remarkably. It's been a really, really consistent season for Maguire, so if he is off the podium in this race, then this will become one of his drop scores, and he could gain back some 95 points that at the moment he's dropping, because he's having to drop one of those third place finishes from earlier in the season. So sometimes, and it depends how you play it, but sometimes a bad finish at the last round isn't necessarily the end of the world, and it can sometimes even work to your benefit, especially if your bad score is not quite as bad as some of your other competitors' bad scores. You can gain a whole load of points on them sometimes. There's the 88 car sideways there, Bobby Andrews. Very, very close moment coming out of Murray's. Out along the centre straight they go again, across the start-finish line, past the telephone box, one of the iconic features of the Snetterton landscape. And the field fanning out there as they try and just see where they're going with down the pit straight. They are absolutely awful conditions here this morning at Snetterton. The driver's doing a really good job, by and large, just to keep the cars on the island. Bobby Andrews then working his way through. This race is, of course, 12 minutes plus 1 lap, so it'll work out again about 14 minutes or so. On board with Ian Tomlinson now in the number 9 car. Now, we're looking for where Ben Hansey is, of course, aren't we, as well, in car number 40. There was a car slipping up the inside of us then. Ben Hansey, I think, is still behind us at this point in the race, having clearly had some sort of an issue earlier on. Ben Short, I remind you, still leads the way, with Ben Abbott and Ali Bray dicing over second place, all sideways now. The car's sideways, so it must therefore be Daniel Grist, which it is. The 43 car has been putting on a real display of car control, but I'm not convinced it's the quickest way of getting around the track. So Ian Tomlinson is ahead at the moment of Paul Maguire, but only by 1 position, so he's only going to gain 1 championship point on him. This will become a drop score for both of them though, because Ian Tomlinson's drop scores are a pair of 4th place finishes and a non-finish, which he had back at Pembrey, the middle race at Pembrey. So they're both going to gain some championship points back, but Maguire is going to gain more. He's going to gain 95 points back at this stage, whereas it will be just the 94 points gained back for Ian Tomlinson. So the gap will essentially go out by a point between the two of them, if you see what I mean, because in a way this race didn't happen for either of them. It's going to be one of their worst finishes if things finish as they are now, but things could change, of course. Ian Tomlinson could gain ground. He's also got not that far behind him the 20 car of Paul Maguire, but not far behind him Bobby Andrews, who could get past a pair of them, especially if Maguire keeps getting sideways like that. Down the Bentley straight they go. And in fact, Andrews is trying to pull to the right-hand side again, maybe more just to see rather than actually make a move. But let's see, we're on board with Ian Tomlinson, so this is all going on behind us, really. As he goes under the bridge. Heavy braking here down in towards the left-hander at Brundle, and then the right-hander at Nelson. Named after Martin Brundle, and Nelson Piquet, of course. Martin Brundle, local driver. I know that he has many happy memories of Snetterton in the old days. It's changed quite a lot over the years, though, to the Snetterton 300 layout that we see before us now, which does provide good racing, come wet or dry. And, well, I have to give it to Daniel Grist. He may have had a few really close moments, close to disaster, but it's not slowing him down, and he's now trying to get past Paul Bateman as they go through Coram. I think he was quite able to nip up the inside there, though. Again, the grip is on the wider outside line through that corner. And then in towards Murray's as they head back onto the pit straight again, getting into the second half of this first race of the weekend now. And the Davanti Tyres MX5 Cup by 5 Club is almost certain to go down to at least the next race, but if Paul Maguire just keeps scoring decent points, then, well, even if he doesn't keep scoring decent points, as long as his rivals don't start scoring decent points, then Maguire is still definitely the favourite for the championship. He always was coming into this weekend. It was really just a case of what Hansey and Tomlinson could do. Well, Ben Hansey, things haven't really gone his way here. We still haven't seen any sight of him. Further down the order he must be, outside of the top 10 at the moment, I believe. Side-by-side battle here around the outside line there for Paul Bateman, but up the inside of him is the very entertaining to watch Daniel Grist. But again, the inside line is not where the speed is on the exit of the corner. This time around, though, he has the outside line towards Palmer, so can Daniel Grist use this to his advantage? Traction coming off the corner has not necessarily been his strong suit, though, so far this race. He's sideways again through Palmer's. Well, he's having a lot of fun, but I'm convinced he could be running further up the order if he just kept the thing pointing in the right direction, but nonetheless, I'm not going to complain too much because it's truly spectacular driving here from Daniel Grist. These things don't have that much power, but in the wet conditions, you need all the grip you can get, and they don't have much of that either, so it creates very, very entertaining sideways moments, as we're seeing here. Daniel Grist trying to work his way up another position here and not yet been able to do it. He's been stuck behind the 42 car now of Paul Bateman for a couple of laps. Further back there is the 20 car of Paul Maguire, championship leader still, ahead of Bobby Andrews, and is that Ben Hansey? I think that's Ben Hansey, the white and black car number 40 at the back of that group. Let's wait till we see the number. Yes, it is. That is Ben Hansey. So Ben Hansey must have had a moment somewhere because he was leading into the first corner, and then all of a sudden we lost him halfway around the first lap. Well, now he's caught this group up, and this is the group that includes his big championship rivals. So as I said, he is 30 points behind Paul Maguire. You heard me pause then to try and do the maths in my head. 30 points behind Paul Maguire, and the very least that he has to do in this race is beat Maguire, but really it's more important that he just finishes as high up the order as he can, because Hansey has no more dropped scores to fall back on. In front of them all, though, Daniel Grist might finally have found a way ahead of Paul Bateman, because Bateman ran a bit deep then in towards Nelson, lost the rear of the car, and yes, finally Daniel Grist has gone through, and then, of course, gets sideways at the next corner. In the end, it works out, though, because as he slides out wide, he sort of blocks the momentum on the exit of the corner there for Bateman, so Daniel Grist does now find a way through, but here is where it's all going on, because Ben Hansey, look, he's carving his way through. He's got past Bobby Andrews, and he's got past Paul Maguire, so Hansey clearly has the speed here, and he will be kicking himself that he's had that moment, we can only assume, on the opening lap, because surely a race win could have been beckoning, and a victory for him in this race would have made all the difference in the world as far as the championship is concerned. It's not over yet, though. Whilst a race win might be off the cards, there's still a possibility of a top 5 or so. Let's see, across the line they go. He's in behind the number 9 car of Ian Tomlinson now, as we go on to the final lap of the race, though, so he's running out of time. How many more places can Ben Hansey gain as the weather conditions, if anything, continue to deteriorate now at Snetterton? It's a long old lap, though. In these conditions, we're talking over 2 3/4 minutes. The fastest lap of the race has been set by Ben Abbott in second place now. He's found a way ahead of Alistair Bray, and he's done a 2:47.69. That is not a particularly rapid lap, it has to be said, but in these conditions it certainly is. Hansey's just got on the inside of Ian Tomlinson there, gains another position now up at the Wilson hairpin. So he's now ahead of both of his championship rivals. He was ahead of Tomlinson by 5 points anyway in the championship, so this is, if nothing else, establishing himself as an even more secure second place man in the championship, but he'd love to win it if he could. Can he close in on the next car in front of him? That would be Paul Bateman. I think he probably can, but it might be a bit of an ask to close in on Daniel Grist, who has now gathered the car together, it would seem, and is pulling away from Bateman slightly, so unless he has another moment, I don't think that's quite going to be possible for Hansey, so a 6th position could be on the cards here for him, and if he were to finish in 6th place, he'd score 92 points, And of course, that would not be one of his dropped scores. So yeah, this is going to tighten the championship up a little bit, I think. Look at that, Paul Maguire sideways. Now, even when you save the initial slide, as soon as you go near the loud pedal again, the rear wheels are just spinning up. It is so slippery out there. And the cars have very little grip just because there is so much standing water. It doesn't matter how gentle you are with your throttle application, the things are just sliding around all over the place. It's very spectacular to watch, but it just goes to illustrate what a knife edge the drivers are all walking, and if something should go wrong, even the slightest little moment, that could be your race over, and that could have catastrophic implications for any one of these three championship contenders. Back underneath the bridge they go. Where's Ali Bray? Has he found a way? He's already got past Paul Bateman, so Ben Hansey up another position there. Across the start-finish line, though, is coming Ben Short, and he is going to take his 4th win of the season from 4 races. That's not a bad win record. 2nd place, though, for Ali Bray, and he'll be pretty happy with that as well, the guest driver in the race. And then we have the rest of them all waiting to work their way through. Here are the championship contenders, or 2 of them at least. Now, Ian Tomlinson's got himself ahead of Paul Maguire, look. So Tomlinson ahead of Maguire. No, in fact, he already was, wasn't he? But yes, he's going to take a couple of points, therefore, out of Maguire, potentially. Except, no, of course he won't, because this becomes a drop score. You love them and hate them, don't you, drop scores? They're a great feature to have, but they do complicate matters and confuse commentators, that's for sure. So Ian Tomlinson is going to finish ahead of Paul Maguire, but in essence it doesn't really matter because that now becomes a drop score for both of them. Whereas for Ben Hansey, crucially, he gets into 6th place, so that is a 92 point score for him, which puts him still in mathematical contention for the title, I reckon. It's Ben Short, though, that takes the victory in race number 1. Ben Abbott is 2nd from Ali Bray, Paul Monteith and Daniel Grist the top 5. Great drive from Daniel Grist there. Ben Hansey, Paul Bateman, Ian Tomlinson, Paul Maguire and Bobby Andrews round out the top 10. And then it's Matthew Short, Lloyd Huggins, Adrian Johnson and Jordan Johnson with Howard Lancashire 15th. Graham Chatton, Sam Moody, Andrew Barrett, Stephen Rees and Zaren Dallas round out the top 20 with 2 retirements, Ian Van Reenen and Ryan Lovelock both failing to reach the finish.
Ben, you and this trusty MX5, what a result.
Yeah, it's really good fun to get back in the car again. It's been a little while since I drove this, so yeah, really enjoyed that. Got over my wet weather jinx, which I had, it would appear, because I felt really comfortable there. There was a bit left at the end if I needed it, so yeah.
You had a good margin as well.
Yeah, I could see someone in the mirror, but with all the spray that comes off the car, I couldn't really see who it was. So yeah, really looking forward to tomorrow as well. So should be good.
Changing conditions for tomorrow. We're hoping for sunshine. We're hoping for sunshine this side of the track anyway.
Yeah. It's always nice to have a bit of everything over the weekend. Makes it a bit more challenging. Also makes the guys who set the car up have to do a little bit more, and it just adds another little element to the game. It's a shame that Ali wasn't around after the first lap there, because Ali and I at Donington last year had 3 races of absolute toe-to-toe in the wet. But hopefully he'll be there tomorrow and we can resume battle as of last year.
Well, victory in these conditions certainly add provenance to that mantelpiece. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. Cheers.
Abbott, not many people describe these conditions as lovely, but you just did.
I mean, it's good fun in the wet, having a good laugh, getting a bit back out, fun. I mean, Ben Short was unbelievable, so fast in the wet, and I've got the advantage of running better tyres because I'm not championship regulations. So I couldn't even keep up with him with the extra grip. And watching him go through the corners and forward drifting everywhere, it was phenomenal.
Certainly more fun when you're coming in 2nd place, though.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Starting last as well, I got a really good launch and got past a fair few cars at the start when I was in clear traffic. So I was just about getting head down, getting consistent laps in, not spinning. I managed to overtake Ali by making a mistake. So yeah, just making sure I did the same thing. Had a couple of lock-ups, but yeah, managed to keep on the tarmac and yeah, and it is, which is great.
Well done, great result.
Thank you much.
Ali, all good?
Yeah, good. Just glad to be back out there. Had a year off, new car, built by the team, AB Motorsport. So yeah, just trying to develop it and yeah, make it as quick as the yellow one from last year.
Couldn't quite get on the coattails of these guys, but you've got another race tomorrow to do just that.
Yeah, we've got another 2 stabs at it tomorrow, so we're here to have a bit of fun, and of course winning is everything, so we'll have a good go.
The smile says everything. I think you achieved the brief. Well done.
Cheers, mate.